Don't feel like going home, but all my cash is gone. Yeah, I got nothing to do tonight.
Right now, it's time for Tom Maoli's Go Big or Go Home Show. Tom Maoli's Go Big or Go Home Show will explain how you can start a business, grow your business, fund your idea, or the next multi-million-dollar invention, or how to buy that piece of real estate you've always wanted. Now's your chance to hear it live, right from the serial entrepreneur. It's Tom Maoli's Go Big or Go Home Show. Here's Tom Maoli.
Go big or go.
And we're back. It's Tom Maoli, serial entrepreneur, high above the towers of Madison Square Garden. We are back, and it's another week here. And, the purpose of this show, I like to tell the listeners, is to try and get people out from the rut they're in, out from behind the desk to cubicle. In corporate America, they want to start their own businesses. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to learn how to do it, and they got 1 foot on the base and 1 foot off the base. They have ideas. They don't know how to execute them. They don't know how to get them financed. And the purpose of the show is they can come on Sunday nights at 7:00 and listen to the show. And week after week, we have special guests, and we have Jim Totten here in the studio again. Jim,
hi Tom. How are you? Happy President's Weekend, by the way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And week after week we have amazing guests. The guests just keep getting better and better. And we talk about why some of these guests are on. And we go. It's a spectrum of guests. It's business people. Last week we had an amazing guest. We had the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur magazine. Fabulous. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the go-to guy if you want to be an entrepreneur. But sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes it's how do you do it? We had Arshita Furman. Love the guy. I keep talking about him over and over again because he taught us. I mean, he taught me things. He got me into a state of mind where he taught me how to control your mind and give it up to a higher power and get yourself out of the fear. And that is a huge thing for especially an entrepreneur or a person who wants to be an entrepreneur, start their own business, go out there, buy real estate, invest in real estate, and, get in the stock market. How many people I know have called me and emailed me and said, do I buy Bitcoin? Do I not buy Bitcoin? What do I do? Do I get in, not get in? And, by the way, they all sat on the sidelines. No one got in, and the thing soared. So it's a perfect example. It's about fear. And what makes people have no fear of risk? What makes an entrepreneur have no fear of risk? We talk about it week after week. Like I said, we've had guests on like Arshita Furman, Trigger Gum, just on and on and on. And whether
Gary Sheffield,
absolutely, New York Yankee Gary Sheffield,
now an agent,
exactly. And listen, whether you're a daredevil jumping 277 feet in the air to break the Guinness Book of World Records, or you're an entrepreneur starting your own company, to me, it's the same. It really is. It's taking risk. It's following your dreams. It's going after them. And, we talk about it week after week.
Tom, I'm sorry to interrupt. We another one of your favorites was Kreskin.
Oh,
we got the amazing Kreskin.
Amazing guy.
And I'm not sure. Did we give out the final on his prediction for the Super Bowl after that game?
It's interesting.
I'm not sure if we did it or not.
Sure if we did, but Kreskin came to my office the day after the Super Bowl. I opened up the lockbox, which I held in my office, and he predicted
the night before
the Eagles,
right,
and that the number 8 would be significant, and they won by 8 points. Amazing.
He covered the spread.
Amazing. Exactly. I've gotten a lot of hits on my website, tommaoli.net.
Right.
If you want to go see it, it's amazing. There's videos, there's repeats of the shows. It's there. I've gotten an amazing amount of traffic on the website and on social media because of Kreskin. So that was amazing. But tonight we have an interesting guest. And the timing of it of our guest tonight is even more interesting because we are in the middle of the Olympics.
Great Olympics.
Right?
Ratings are booming.
Right. Ratings are booming on the Olympics. People, obviously, we with the weather the way it is, people are sitting inside watching the Olympics. And tonight, it's pretty apropos because tonight on the Olympics, on TV, as we're sitting here, is snowboarding.
There you go.
right?
Right.
Is the Olympic snowboarding, and people are sitting there watching it. Hopefully, they're listening to the show tonight. And we have a special guest, and his name is Andy MacDonald. He is the world champion of skateboarders.
Fantastic.
It's unbelievable. And I have a lot of questions lined up for Andy because it's just amazing. And you say skateboarding. How could someone turn that into a business, into a dream, and make money at it? Well, we're going to find out from Andy MacDonald. It's unbelievable. But he is the master of skateboarding. He's completed every X Games since its inception.
Amazing.
The Olympics are on, and a lot of people don't know what the X Games are. But the X Game is annual. It's an annual event of extreme sports, hosted and produced and broadcast by ESPN.
Right, started then. Right.
Exactly. And, its coverage is worldwide. Its inaugural games were held in 1995 in Newport, Rhode Island. And participants come and they win bronze, silver, gold, and prize money. And Andy's the king. Andy is the king when it comes to skateboarding. The competition features guys like Tony Hawk. I mean, talk about a professional and a world-renowned skateboarder. It's unbelievable, right? And
right. He's one of the all-timers, actually. Started it all, quite honestly.
Right,
Andy
exactly.
came in after him.
Right, exactly. And, the X Games launched the game in media exposure, top-tier sponsors, top-tier athletes, and, it's an amazing. They brought in the Generation X, the Generation Y, two demographics, and they melded them together, and it's been absolutely amazing.
And it is interesting, Tom, because of the Gen X factor. I'm past the 50-something years old, but I remember watching those games, and for me at first it was not that interesting. But then as the games grew and everybody else started picking up on it, and now a lot of those different things are happening in the Winter Olympics in the last 2 weeks.
Right, and we have somebody holding from Brick, New Jersey that has a question for me already on business. I want to get back. I want to take this call from Jules in Brick. Answer his question. I want to tell you a little bit more about our guest. Jules, go ahead.
How you doing, Tom?
How are you?
I'm excellent. It's great that you're talking about sports and snowboarding in the Olympics. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur, and I've been I have a system in terms of the fitness industry, looking to revolutionize it. I came up with this quote-unquote system some 20 years ago, and it's based in thermodynamics. I mean, I'm sure you've seen and people know about the old commercials where the fat guy gets into the steam chamber, comes out skinny. So basically what I've done is through experimentation.
I've seen it. I've seen it on Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Absolutely.
And you've heard of hot yoga.
Hot yoga, absolutely. Hot yoga is great. Love it. Absolutely love it.
But what I've found, and I've done research, like I said, some 20 years ago is when I discovered it, quote unquote, because I used to weigh over 300 pounds, and I'm down to 177.
Wow.
And
Congratulations. Congratulations. That's
fantastic.
Thank you. But you can take ambient temperatures, whether it's jacuzzis, whirlpools, steam rooms, or even you've heard of models eating spicy foods because the thermodynamics helps burn calories. Anyway, long story short, I have experience in network marketing, and basically I want to start something at the ground level, taking my system and producing a certification or a license and promoting it to personal trainers and people who actually have clients, and turning it into where I can promote the license and sell it to other personal trainers who in turn will tell it to other personal trainers, and I'm sure you know how network marketing works.
Absolutely, absolutely. So network marketing is, many companies are built on network marketing. You have companies like Amway and, on and on and on, but an incredible way to market, and clearly it sounds like you have an amazing product.
My question is very specific in terms of the product itself is an intellectual property. I've written most of a book, and I'm looking to turn it into a license so that I can get other personal trainers to maybe take a certification where they qualified it to buy the license and then teach my system to their clients And in turn, when another personal trainer hears about it, well, how can I promote myself as a TCZ personal trainer? I call it thermal cardio zone, where you can, in a nutshell, you can elevate your core body temperature to a maintainable, safe zone where you increase your heart rate and increase your calorie burn.
Well,
And
listen, it sounds amazing. It clearly sounds like you're onto something. Trying to get to the question that you have.
Should I see maybe a lawyer and get this system turned into a license?
Well, the first thing I would do is I'd get a patent. I'd file a patent on it because clearly you have something here. Clearly sounds like you have something. You know, when it comes to weight, people are conscious of weight all the time. You know,
Right.
Millions and billions of dollars are spent on all of these weight products and you know, Jack-o'-lane juicers and exercise programs and ab rollers, and you see them on infomercials. You clearly have something that seems like it's clearly
But can you?
a better
I've done
product.
a little research on it, but you can't really patent a system. So this is why I'm gearing it more towards an intellectual property, because I did work with a network marketing company, and you sign disclaimer, non-disclosures, and basically ways of protecting your business as a form of a teaching system.
Right.
Basically, that's what it is I'm teaching other personal trainers to teach my system to their clients. So what I'm looking to do is protect my intellectual property, because it's my understanding you can't really patent a system.
Right. Okay. So it's. I thought it was a physical system where there was a piece of machinery. You're talking about a process. You definitely have to get to a lawyer. You have to You got to get licensing documents. Do not give out your information to anyone until they sign your licensing documents. A non-disclosure, non-compete. You don't want them going against you. Once they sign that, you own it. And if they give the information out or somebody else does it, you're protected. You got to protect yourself. It's very important. I think you're on the right track. It's clearly I love what you're doing, and I think it's $1 billion industry.
Yeah, no, I'm looking. So that was my basic question. So I am on the right track. So I should speak to a sports or a fitness savvy lawyer in the intellectual property field?
Absolutely. If you want to hit my website, it's tommaoli.net. You can go there. You can shoot me an email, and I can lead you to some good people who can help you out with the process.
Perfect.
We appreciate you calling in. I got to get to Andy MacDonald. In fact, we're going to have to take a commercial break. If you can hit my website, we'll be back. The phone lines will be open. It's 1-800-848-9222. We're going to have world champion skateboarder Andy MacDonald on the night that snowboarding is on the Olympics. We'll be back in a few minutes.
And we're back high above the towers of Madison Square Garden. We're back with real estate and automotive and business and finance serial entrepreneur, Mr. Go Big or Go Home himself, and skateboarder Tom Maoli. Tom, back to you.
Doing? Well, tonight we have a special show and a special guest. We have Andy MacDonald, world champion skateboarder. And, on the night of the Olympics, we have it's snowboarding going on. People are watching it on TV. MacDonald was originally from Melrose, Massachusetts. He started skateboarding in 1986 when he was 12 years old. And MacDonald became a professional skateboarder in 1994. In 1998, he was selected the best overall skater in the Reader's Poll of Trans World Skateboarding magazine. He was chosen to host the Trans World Skateboarding trip video. In 1999, MacDonald delivered an anti-drug speech at the White House, and it was preceded by MacDonald skateboarding down the marble floor of the hallway. No one has ever done that. The guy's unbelievable. The list of his medals in the X Games. He's won more X Game medals than any other X Game competitor. I would be here the entire night listing
pages and
pages. It's amazing.
He's got 23 medals. It's
unbelievable. He's got 23 medals with 5 XG disciplines, and it's mind blowing. But it's interesting because when we talk about Andy and we talk about entrepreneurs, and we're going to get him on the phone in a second, but I just want to say this. It wasn't all peaches and cream. It wasn't all, everyone's looking at the success now and everyone's looking at what he's accomplished and what he's done. But what our show is about is really what it takes to get there. And we have all these listeners out there. We got millions of listeners who want to get out of corporate America. They want to get out of from behind the cubicle. They want to start their own businesses. They want to follow their dream, and they're afraid. They're in fear. They live in fear every day. And when you hear a story like Andy MacDonald's, it's absolutely amazing. And we're going to get him on the line right now, and we're going to talk about the story and the trials and tribulations and what it took him to get there, because that's what it's about. That's the American dream. Fantastic. Andy?
Hey, guys. What's happening?
How are you?
Hi, Andy. How are you?
I'm
good. Thanks for coming on, and I appreciate your time. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, now listen, your story is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's mind-blowing. I read your story, and I've got a list of questions here, and I just want to start with a couple questions, and then I want to get into your history, because to me, the history is where it's at. That's the American dream. But we're having a night tonight where we're watching snowboarding on the Olympics, right? And you're a world champion X Game skater. Why not? What do you think about the Olympics versus the X Games, and why not? Why is skating not in the Olympics? And have you tried to?
Because it's not 2020 yet.
It's coming. It's coming.
Congratulations! All right, so it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, the Summer Games.
Yes.
Excellent.
Skateboarding is the Summer Games. So in Tokyo, I'm proud to say in Tokyo in 2020 we will see skateboarding for the first time as an official
that's
Olympic
great.
sport.
So here's the 99,000.
It'll start as two disciplines in the sport, just
Okay.
street skating and bowl skating.
Wow.
Hopefully we'll expand from there.
Excellent. So let me ask you a question. Were you instrumental in having this get going in the Olympics? And will you?
I've been on I was a founding board member for USA Skateboarding.
Wow.
Great. That's terrific.
Congratulations.
Been there since the beginning. Yeah.
Listen, another success. It's really just amazing. Absolutely, that's great. So will you be skating in the games, or will you be watching it?
No, I'll be at the very best coaching the games. Yeah, it's definitely going to be the young guns. I hope, it should be the best of the best guys, and I'm in the twilight of my career. I just this year started skating the Masters Tour.
Wow.
Okay. Hey,
They're allowing me to skate with my people that are my own age now.
Andy, but you got to look at Shaun White, 31 years old. He's still kicking it.
Yeah, he is. He's still showing those little young bucks what's up. I'm still proud of him. He's from the town I live in now, in Encinitas, California.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Since he was a knee-high to a grasshopper. Kid's been charging for years, and he did it. He did it. Not only did he do it, but he did it with the weight of the world on his shoulders the other night.
It was an amazing night.
Serious pressure when you got one more run, and they're like, okay, the world knows you can do it, but you got to do it right now.
It was the highlight of the Olympics for me so far. It was fantastic.
Hold, commercial break. Okay, now do it. Oh,
Yep.
wait. Okay. All right.
Exactly.
That was great.
So
sitting up at the top of the track, and you're scared, and you're cold, and they're like, wait before you perform. Better than anybody in the world.
Exactly. Andy, your story is an inspiration, and when I read your story, and I it blows my mind, because it's so. There's so many parallels to my story, and I'm an entrepreneur. I started with nothing. I never went to college. I barely graduated high school. I've built and sold, 6 different companies. I'm a real estate developer.
Logistics.
Yeah, I had a worldwide global company, and I read your story, and it's the part that to me is the American dream is, right? You graduate and you go to your parents and you tell them, this is my plan. I'm going to California, and I'm going to be a skateboarder. It's amazing.
And they're like, you're going to be a what?
Right, exactly, which is absolutely amazing. And I remember the parallel is amazing, because I remember sitting at the kitchen table with my father, and my father telling me, I want you to go to college, and I'm like, what? What do you mean college? I want to start my own business. And he said, well, you don't know anything about business, and it's absolutely amazing. And how you took that card and glued it together. And gave it to your mother for her to open is an amazing story, right? Andy MacDonald takes a card, glues it together, gives it to his mother, and says, "If you can."
Stapled it too. I made sure it was glued together, stapled together, and then I sewed the outside. There's no way.
Absolutely. If you can
That's
open
great.
this, I won't be a skateboarder. And guess what?
That's
you did
great.
it. You defied all odds. But by the way, as most moms would do,
Right.
she gave you your car. You drove
Right.
across the country, right? Not knowing how you were going to survive, how you were going to live. You followed your dream, which was absolutely amazing. You take a job in a surf skate shop, right? The green room, right?
Yep.
And with basically no money, right? And that's
I had about $500 when I left Boston.
Wow.
Wow.
I had a lot less than that by the time I made it to San Diego.
Well, listen,
Wow.
that is the American dream. That's what this show is about. It's really about being an entrepreneur, what it takes to get out there. There's so many people that I deal with on a daily basis that are in corporate America or they're working jobs. They have these dreams, or they're in school and they have these dreams and they're just afraid to take that risk. They're afraid to go after it. And week after week, we have guests like you that have just put it all aside, put their heads down, and they've gone after it. And look what you have done. I want to talk more. I have a list of questions for you because people are waiting. The phone lines are open. It's 800-848-9222. Call in. We have Andy MacDonald, world champion, X Game professional skater, the creme de la creme. There's no better than Andy MacDonald. We're going to be back in a few minutes. We're going to take a commercial break. If you could just hang on, Andy, we have some more questions for you, but you are a total inspiration to all the listeners. Thank you.
Go big or go home. Go big or go home.
And we're back with the Go Big or Go Home show. This segment is brought to you by Celebrity Motorcars of New Jersey, the largest luxury car dealer in the Northeast, with Lexus of Route 10, BMW of Springfield, Mercedes-Benz of Goldens Bridge, New York, Maserati of Morris County, and Maserati of Bergen County, and Alfa Romeo of Morris County. Visit www.celebritymotorcar.com. Tom, back to you.
And we're here with special guest Andy MacDonald, world champion, X Game champion, skater, skateboarder. Guy's amazing. His story's amazing. We're going to continue asking. I got some more questions. Andy, you on the line?
I am.
Great, Andy. So we talked about this letter that you gave to your mother. You followed your dream, which I love because that's what I did. I went out there. I defied all odds. I didn't go to college. My father wanted me to go to college, and I just didn't want to do it. I started my own company with nothing, not a dime. I worked 11 at night till 7 in the morning to make payroll. I've studied you. I've watched you. You're amazing. You get approached by this guy who wants you to start a snowboard, wakeboards division of his company. He wants to start this skateboard division, and he wants you to run it. And at that point, you're living poverty. Your salary's below poverty level. And why doesn't that excite you? Tell me why.
Why doesn't it excite me?
Yeah, right. I mean, a guy wants you to run a division of his company, right?
Yeah. At that point, I wanted to be a pro skateboarder. That's why I left Boston. That's why I wanted to come to San Diego. I mean, it's like you want to be a movie star, you go to Hollywood. You want to be a pro skateboarder,
Right.
you go to San
Right.
magazines are the industry is, and so I just wanted to be like how I had it envisioned in my head was like I'm going to go and get sponsored by an already established company that everybody knows, and they're going to ask me to turn pro for their company, and I'll get royalties from their boards. That's how it works. And this was not that way. This was like, oh, we're brand new, no one's ever heard of us, and it was a company called Thruster. It was a wakeboard company. If you've ever heard of the very first wakeboards were like Skirfers.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically like little surfboards.
Yes.
That you tow behind a boat, right?
Yep.
So the next company after Skirfer was Thruster. And Thruster made better wakeboards, but they were still, very beginning infancy of the sport. And they were expanding into snowboarding, and they wanted to expand into skateboarding and call it Thruster Skateboards. And I was just like, no, it's not going to work. No, I'm not going to ride for Thruster Skateboards. And at that point in my career, I didn't want to be stuck behind a desk. I didn't want to be running a skateboard company, calling skate shops and selling skateboards. I wanted to be riding my skateboard.
Well, There it is, and you hit Andy. You hit the point right there, and that's what the show is about. Stuck behind a desk. That's really what it's about. There's so many people out there that want to live their dream. They have it in their heads. They have this vision, And you said something else that hit home to me, Andy, and I love it. I have a vision board in my office. I put up pictures. I put up designs. I put up buildings that I'm going to build. I put up car dealerships that I think I'm going to own. I put up cars that I want to own. I'm a car collector, a classic car collector. I have a vision board. And when you said you have a vision, I love it because that's what you need to have as an entrepreneur. You need to have a vision, and clearly you had blinders on. 2 weeks ago I had my daughter on the show. She's studying to be an entrepreneur at High Point University in North Carolina, and I always told her since she was young, when you go to the racetrack and they put blinders on a horse, there's a reason. They don't want him to be distracted. They want him to look straight ahead, and they want him to get to the finish line as fast as he can. They don't want anything else to distract him. Clearly, that's what you did.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you get to, and for me, I got to this point when I was fairly young. By the time I finished high school, like I was probably a junior in high school, I decided, like, this is what I want to do with my life. This is the most fun I know how to have. Doing anything, it would happen to be riding a skateboard.
Congratulations, because as a kid, I rode a skateboard, and I think I scraped. I fell so many times. I gave the skateboard away.
Yeah, you learn to love the falls too. But if you love something enough, and you're willing to sacrifice everything to make it happen, you'll find a way to make money doing it. Whether, for me, it was pro skateboarding, but if had it not been pro skateboarding, I would have found a way to make a living doing it, teaching skateboarding or, skateboarding in my spare time and being a whitewater raft instructor in the summertime and a snowboard instructor in the wintertime, like, so long as I had enough time to ride my skateboard.
Andy, did you find at the beginning, once you got into that part of it, the sponsorship part, was that the hardest thing? Because now you had to become a businessman to get sponsorship. And how did that work out at the beginning?
That was all self-taught. It was
right.
You learn pretty quick that you are a professional in a lot of, there's a lot of pro skateboarders, like, and there's a difference to me. There's a pro skateboarder is just like doing it. They love doing it. They're not really professional. When there's a demo, I'll show up when I feel like showing up, or if there's an autograph signing, maybe I'll show up, maybe I won't. That's not professional. A professional shows up ready to go on time every time.
Exactly.
And you depend on that, and you get that reputation. Of course, they're going to be here because they said they were going to be here.
Absolutely.
And your fans start to, otherwise you're letting people down. You're letting people that are paying you down. If you say, yes, I'm going to represent this company, and I'm going to be rocking a logo front and center on my helmet every time I drop in, you better be rocking that logo.
Right.
Otherwise,
you're part of a team now. Part of a team, right?
Yeah, it's your responsibility to be professional and represent that brand in a professional way. And so I was lucky enough to hook up with some pretty established brands early in my career, and I've been with them for my entire career. I rode for Airwalk Shoes for 26 years.
Wow. Congratulations. That's fabulous.
Yeah, so that whole time it was that, this relationship that the idea being that, even if I happened to not have the logo front and center, which I always did, I had been with the brand so long that it was like the brand and the rider become synonymous.
Well, listen, that's called
Andy MacDonald. Yeah,
that's called loyalty. That's called commitment, and that's what it takes.
And you don't have to say Nike to know Michael Jordan. Nike, they're synonymous. So when you align yourself with a brand and you act professionally and you're loyal to them for a long time, that's the kind of relationship you want. So I've been with Powell Peralta Skateboards, who was a dream sponsor of mine when I was a kid, watching Tony Hawk and the Bones Brigade.
Right.
Growing up in the 80s, when it came time to pick a new sponsor in 1997, I had a couple different offers on the table, and then I got an offer from George Powell. And I went up and saw his factory and saw where they make the boards and the wheels and everything. And on a handshake, I was like, yes, I'm with you.
Well, let's talk about that, because it's interesting you talk about George Powell, because when I was reading up on you, you talked about the second X Games in Newport, Rhode Island were a turning point for you, right? And then after that came, from what I read, came the pressure, and you kind of gave into the pressure a little bit, and Talk about that, because that is so important for me, for an entrepreneur. I've been there. I've been in deals. I've been in where you feel like the pressure's so you made it. You feel like you made it to the top, but then the pressure's so strong.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so the X Games was kind of the rebirth of professional skateboarding, especially vertical skateboarding, stuff you see on the X Games and the Do Tour, and hopefully one day the Olympics. The half pipe skating where guys are flying through the air.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1995, ESPN started the X Games. Tony Hawk was the go-to guy,
Right.
and he won hands down. I was lucky to be invited. I was brand new to the pro scene. I turned pro in 94, 95. The X Games started, so it was good timing for me. And then in 1996, like you mentioned, the second year of the X Games in Newport, Rhode Island, I won, and everyone was like, "What? Like, who's this new guy? Beat Tony Hawk." You know, camera in my face, like deer in the headlights.
Right. Absolutely. Love it. Love it.
And
Love
I won,
it.
And I won $5,000.
Wow.
That's great.
I
That's
was
great.
like, I'm taking everybody to dinner.
Right. Exactly.
And then, so the next year rolls around, 1997, and the X Games moved to San Diego. And
Hometown.
this was at the point in my career where I had just left the thruster. The brand that we had started was called Human Skateboards. I had just left them, and I did not have a deal with Pal Peralta yet. I hadn't even been offered yet. I had a couple like talking about it, but the X Games rolled around, and I was like, "This is it. I need to, establish myself and win this contest again, or else I'll never get another sponsor. Like this is it. And the pressure you talk about is." Most of the pressure was on myself, like if I had just relaxed and, gone through the motions of doing what I know how to do, I probably would have been fine.
Oh, it's amazing. As an entrepreneur, the things I've gone through and the pressures I've put myself under and the nights I've walked the floors, you look backwards and you're just like, what was I thinking? Why did I do this to myself?
Just relax and do what you know how to do. So I ended up missing the cut, and it's one of maybe 2 or 3 professional contests I've ever missed the cut in. Always make it to the finals, and I missed the cut in this one. And I thought that was the end. That was it, But they also that year started the doubles competition. And I was friendly with Tony Hawk. We were on the same shoe team, Airwalk Shoes together. And we started our doubles career together that same year. So Tony Hawk, of course, wins the 97 X Games, and we win the doubles together. So that was a help. And after kind of realizing that I just put so much unnecessary pressure on myself, the X Games was early in the season. The rest of that season, I didn't lose another contest.
Wow,
That's amazing. I won every other contest.
Great.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Listen, it's about determination. It's about desire. You got to have it in your stomach. You got to want it. You got to feel it with every bone in your body. Clearly, you had that. Clearly, that's how you got to where you're at. We have to take a commercial break. The phone lines are open. It's 800-848-9222. Anyone wants to call in and ask Andy MacDonald, world champion skateboarder, a question. We actually have somebody on the line, Andy. When we come back from a commercial break, we're going to bring them on. We have some questions for you. I want to get to the key question of the night, but we're going to get back right after the commercial. We'll be back.
And we are back. We are back with real estate and automotive, business and finance serial entrepreneur, Mr. Go Big or Go Home himself, Mr. Tom Maoli. Tom, back to you.
Thank you, Jim. And we have special guest Andy MacDonald, world champion skateboarder, X Game winner. On and on and on.
On and on and on.
I would need 5 hours to talk about his achievements. I have somebody on the line that wants to ask Andy a question. It's Barry Farber. Barry?
There they are.
How you doing?
Tom, Jim.
Great.
Andy.
Hi, Barry.
Hey, Barry.
I got a question for you, buddy. And there's nobody I'm prouder to represent than you and Tom, the whole team there. But I'll tell you what, you talk about pressure, and you talk about going into the zone, or what I call a martial arts no mind, how to get into a scenario where you stop thinking, you let your body and all the training and all your how do you prepare for something like you talk about when you're you're ready to drop in and how do the performance where you stop and you don't even remember anything because it's just all natural. How do you prepare for that?
Well, I want to step in for 1 second, Barry, because I was watching some of Andy's videos. They're insane, honestly. I mean, the way he spins around in the air. And I said this a couple weeks ago. We had our Sheeta Furman on our show, and he holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the most Guinness Book of World Records. And I keep talking about this because it just blows my mind. The guy did jumping jacks, and he holds the world record, the Guinness Book of World Records for jumping jacks, 27,000 jumping jacks, and he does it by basically disconnecting his mind. So go ahead. And I was watching Andy, and I said it's got to be the same thing. It has to be.
Yeah, it's just repetition. I mean, it's if you've ever seen skaters just out and around New York City trying the same trick over and over and over and over again.
Central Park, right?
It's skateboarding. If it teaches you nothing else, it teaches you perseverance, self-motivation. Like, there's no coaches in skateboarding. It's like, if you want to learn a new skill, you try it, and then you try it again, and you try it again. And chances are you fall for a long, long time. There are tricks in skateboarding that took me years to do one time. Not to like, okay, now I got it, I can do it every time. Just to do it once. There's a trick called a McTwist. It's a 540-degree rotation invented by Mike McGill back in 1984. To do a McTwist, it took me 6 years of trying. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Wow.
Literally every time I skated for 6 years, I tried it, finally landed it. When I landed it, I could tell you the day, the time of day, the temperature outside, who was standing on the platform, because I had worked so long and so hard to achieve that one thing. That it's just the best feeling in the world. That's why we skateboard.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's almost like when I do a business deal. It's like the best feeling in the world. You do a deal, you work so hard on it, you put it together, and then it all comes together, and it's just every piece of the puzzle comes together, and you
it's
do
like relief.
Oh, it's exactly what it is. It's absolutely amazing. So Andy,
Barry, to answer your question, I could just pick up the story where we left off with the X Games stuff. 1995, Tony Hawk won. 96, some schmuck named Andy MacDonald won. Who's this guy?
I'll disagree with that, Andy.
1997, Tony Hawk wins again. So 1998, X Games in San Diego, where I'm living now, and this is the rubber match. Tony's won. Tony won, then I won, then Tony won. Now I got to win again. And pressure's on, and I just had one of those magical weekends where I had been reintroduced to my future wife. She had come out for the X Games that weekend, and I was just like falling in love, blissful. I had just bought a house, and I was literally showing up late to our doubles practice sessions. Tony Hawk and I were doing doubles again. We had won the year before, and
you never
I
show
was
up
just
late.
I never show up late. And Tony was like, "What are you doing, dude?" I'm like, "Oh, we got it.
Bliss,
I was just more relaxed than I had ever been in a contest. In fact, I fell asleep right before my street run. Somebody came and woke me up.
Wow.
I was in the athlete medical tent. And I went in there just to take a break right before my street runs, and I'm just like, I lay on one of the tables in there, and I ended up falling asleep. Somebody came in and found me and were like, "Hey, man, you're up next." I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Went out and got a silver medal in street. So
amazing.
Andy, quick question about
the repetition of doing it and being relaxed about it, and I ended up having one of the most successful weekends of my career. I won
That's great.
the vert gold. I got a silver in street, and Tony and I won the doubles vert.
That's what a good woman will do for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Tony, quick question about Andy. Quick question about the games, with the X Games. How many different types of events were created, for the X Games as opposed to what you were doing previous?
They had done the doubles competition back in the 1970s, 80s in pools, and then they brought that around in '97. And Tony and I did it for 6 years before we bowed out. We won every year. I think they did it one a year after that, and then that was it for the doubles. And then they pretty much have followed, like, form-wise, other disciplines, street style and pool skating. They call it park these days. It's just like shallower pools. That's the stuff you're going to see in the Olympics in 2 years. It's
great.
Park-style skating.
So, Andy, we're running out of time, and I didn't mean to cut you. We're running out of time. I want to get a couple key questions for the listeners because I know what they're focused on. I know. So you got this. You made it, right? You drove to California. You did it. You made it. You followed your dreams. You signed this deal with Airwalk. You're on top of the world now. You're winning all these X Games. You have a healthy salary. Finally, you have a salary, right? You can pay your bills, right? You walk in, and now you have this massive house on, in Ocean Beach, and you realized you made it, right? How does that feel? Tell me how it feels.
Oh, it's the best feeling in the world. I mean, it's to this day I have to pinch myself. I mean, literally everything I have in my life is because of skateboarding. From the people I've met, my wife, my kids, my living, my livelihood, my house, my cars. I owe it all to skateboarding.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Every chance I get, I try to give back. Yeah.
Congratulations, that's fabulous. So the key question that I always ask, and people ask me this question, did you ever want to give up?
There have been times when I've been frustrated enough to the point where I'd be like, I don't know if this competition side of skateboarding is for me anymore, because of the pressure, because of the sponsorship and blah blah. But I would. You'll notice every time I skate a competition, I drop in just before they call my name. I drop in and I do what's called a frontside rock and roll. It's one of like the old school roots contest tricks from the 1970s. And it just reminds me, like, hey, take away the sponsors, take away the money, the pressure, the TV cameras, and it's just skateboarding, man. This is what you've always done since you were 12 years old. Just remember that, and that helps me remember. And as long as I keep that at the forefront and keep pushing that to the forefront of my mind, like, hey, it's just skateboarding. Have fun with your skateboarding. Everything's fine.
It's amazing, right? And I feel the same way. When I get down and I feel like I want to give up, and everybody gets those feelings. An entrepreneur, successful people, you talk to anyone, they want to give up. Donald Trump wanted to give up during the middle of the election. You get that, and you come back stronger. Andy, we appreciate you being on. You're amazing.
Great guest,
great guest. Thank you very much. You're an inspiration to all the potential entrepreneurs out there and people that want to follow their dreams. Thank you for your time. We're going to wrap up the show this week. It's Tom Maoli, Go Big or Go Home. You can hit my website. It's tommaoli.net. And always remember, as I say, follow your dreams. You can't hit the ball unless you swing the bat. Winners never quit. Quitters never win. We'll see you Sunday night, 7 p.m. next week with a special guest.